Okay, people. So this is part 6. I hope this is going to be the shortest one maybe I've done. Part 6 of what I would say if someone were to ask me, what do I think is going on, and how should you respond? I'm not sure how everybody should respond, but this is what I think is definitely going on. Is that this, and I hate to say it, but this is what it looks like, and this nation is under attack. As they say in the end days, or end at the end, during the stage of their end game, that's what it seems like. Now, if you notice, people, I haven't heard this brought up yet, and I'm sure, well, maybe some people have, but there was a lot of news about Texas in particular, seceding from the Union, or may secede from the Union, or did, or whatever. I don't know how far along that went, but we weren't told about, or whatever. But well, let's just say I'm, to the best of my recollection, could possibly be familiar with other situations like that, where there's infighting, certain governments don't agree with others, or certain countries don't agree with others, and then all of a sudden the bigger, stronger one, and I think you know who that is, you and I both know who that is, somehow, well, just seems like, like the smaller ones usually have something, or less powerful ones just happen to have a natural disaster of some sort happen to them. So when I look at Texas, I can't help but think the same thing. I don't like the fact that Florida seems like it's going to be next, because when you have things happen right in a row like that, and everything, like I said, it seems to be being generated from one particular little dot on the map. Why is there no one going to check on that? Is there some kind of supernatural portal-like door open to some kind of other freaking, forget my language, weather dimension or something? I don't think so. I doubt it. It's well within the realms of being man-made, and if anybody's ever read something I have up there called The Big Show, it's somebody else had asked me actually what I thought would, if this whole global cataclysm could happen strictly under the guise of something supernatural, but everything being man-made, and your simple answer is yes. And all you have to do is look at that. It's called The Big Show. When they say the silver screen, they're not just talking about a movie screen anymore, people. I got a strange feeling it's already above you. Anyway, people, going back to the, I just wanted to mention this before I forget. Going back to the, if you heard in the last part, or the past couple parts, what? Just go with me on this. What if there was a contract that were made between two supernatural beings? And if you remember that part, one says, I'd like that place, I'd like the people in it, and the other one says, well, no, you can't have it, it's mine, and people would never go with you anyway, and the other one says, well, what if I could get them, could convince them, as long as I let them know everything that, I stood for and was going to be doing, and got their consent, what could I have it then? And then the other one would say, well, they're not going to do it, but, if you think you can, get their willful consents, whatever, I'm not saying such an event took place. I'm just saying, what if it did? Well, seems like because, as I had also mentioned, what seems to be a major weapon of theirs is fear. And of course, the other one, which goes hand in hand with it. Okay, and whose hall monitor just passed by again, so that should give you folks an idea of where they have me. It's just as I've mentioned before, it's just in a kind of like a retirement home slash, which I always say seems to be, it's where they, I guess, send people like me. I mean, I'm free to go and come as I please. It's just that it's not a, I've been trying to go for a few years now, 5 years or so, and it just doesn't seem to be working. Okay, but let's say there was such a contract. Seems like fear and BS go hand in hand. So what's the best thing to create fear? Well, if you had an element that could put the threat of a supernatural underlying underneath that whole thing, like, I don't know, maybe some kind of book or something, that had let's just say, the element of a higher power as its theme. Well, that's one way to start your big deception. I'm not implying anything, I'm just saying. So, and again, if you go back through talking about, what the movies are actually used for, and, the history of, you said that if I blah, 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 but you didn't say I had to blah, 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 but, generally, damn well what's meant. Yeah, well, still, that doesn't work. That's called mirror deception. That's not willful consent of the people. It's certainly as hell is not my willful consent. I don't know about everybody else, but it's not mine. So, maybe that's why I was nabbed early on, but because I don't think they were nowhere near ready. But people at sure as heck seems like they are now. And somebody needs to do something. Before I get to that last thing, let me just, as I've mentioned through these parts here, if you understood a little more about, alchemy and theology or esotericism or gematria or whatever, let me just share one interesting thing I kind of ran across with you. I don't have a strong feeling to or for or against or whatever. I'm just, I just love everybody, all life and whatever, that is, unless, they are doing harm onto others. But, the subject of the transgender thing, or having this type of lifestyle or that type of lifestyle or whatever, as long as they're good hearts and good people, just love them anyway, people, because let me put it to you this way. If you actually look into what I believe is actual fact of what heavenly bodies, if they had human form, really look like, and you can look this up, just make sure it's not a shill piece of material. Well, it's kind of interesting how all those bodies seem to have male and female characteristics. Just look that up under, sexual alchemy or what have you. I'm going to have to probably come back in the last part of this and tell you my reasoning of what I think would pull the plug out from all of this. I didn't really want to say so, but I can't just sit back and just watch them do this. But I'll just kind of start with what was done to me. I've already mentioned it, but so you'll see it clearly. I'll be back here in part 7.